Hey there, welcome to the Movie Review Mom YouTube channel. If you've just now found my channel for the very first time, yay, you're finally here. And if you're a returning subscriber, yay, thank you so much for coming back. My subscribers already know that my goal is to save you time and money by giving you the scoop on filmmaking quality and content so you can decide whether or not you want to spend time or money or both watching a particular film. So today, the movie I'm reviewing is called Robin and the Hoods. I'm really excited about this one. This movie is now available on video on demand platforms. The rating is PG. It's an hour and 40 minutes. And my overall movie review mom grade is an A. I thought it was absolutely fun and adorable and family friendly. Yay, we never get enough of those. So first, I'm going to give you an overview in a nutshell. I'll point out things I like, things I didn't like, tips for parents, themes worth talking about, funny lines, interesting lines, and we'll finish up with recommendations for other films that are sort of similar that you might also really like if you like this one, and vice versa. If you like those other ones, then you might like this one. All right, so let's get started. In a nutshell, the story is about an 11-year-old girl named Robin and her loyal band of friends called the Hoods. They play in a patch of overgrown scrubland at the very end of their cul-de-sac to create a sort of magical kingdom that they have to defend against other kids who want to get the crown and take over the kingdom. The film was directed by Phil Hawkins. Writing credits go to Stuart, Benson, and Paul Davidson. So I would have absolutely loved this movie when I was a kid. I used to spend hours creating fantasy scenarios at various locations with my friends and sisters outside around the neighborhood. I think my sons would have also loved this when they were growing up too. I don't have any daughters, but if I did, I think they would have liked it too. So quick tips for parents. There is talk of smoking grass. There is play violence, talk of cell phones being bad for your brain, which I thought was good. And it's a great illustration how to use your imagination instead of just do this all day long, if you know what I mean. And if you're a parent, you probably have seen a lot of this going on at your home. Robin mentions that video games are for kids with no imagination. And so I thought that was interesting, although we do see her playing video games. One of the children laughs and says, "Some of the rules are meant to be broken," end quote. Now, when you watch this movie with your kids, if you watch it, talk to them about that and whether or not you believe in that philosophy. Then there are also some scary looking bad guys that kind of look like the orcs in the Lord of the Rings movie franchise. And that might frighten young children. The first time I saw the orcs, I was horrified. Like, these guys are monsters. They're scary. And they are. And so in this family friendly movie, I thought they were a little bit too scary. Some of the themes that are illustrated really well are imagination, teamwork, friendship, choices and consequences, reality versus fantasy, courage, facing your problems, and saving the environment, birds, and forests. So here's the list of things, long list of things that I really liked about this film. First of all, I was excited to see Gwendolyn Christie in this film from Game of Thrones. She's hilarious in this role. It just does such a great job. Naomi Harris is also fantastic as the over-the-top villain. You might also recognize Mark Williams from the Harry Potter franchise. If you dye his hair red, you'll see the older Arthur Weasley right before your eyes in this movie. The cast of very young actors did a terrific job. It includes Darcy Ewert, Bruno Edgington-Big, Gloria Ishikawa, and Edison Birch as standouts. The film does a really great job, I thought, blending fantasy with modern day images and technology. We see what's happening in real life as the kids are just wearing their costumes, and then the scene shows how the kids are imagining it in their minds with, real fancy costumes and, not castle, but stuff, all of the stuff that's in the kingdom. And I just thought it was so fun to see that through the children's eyes. It's such a great illustration of the power of imagination. There is a refreshing amount of humor that both kids and adults are going to get a kick out of. The musical score by James Everingham makes the movie feel even more magical and epic. Well done. While watching the film, I just kept thinking about how much kids are going to love this. Now, onto the list of things that I didn't like or thought could have been done differently. So, first of all, of course, the protagonist is a girl. That's true for almost all movies nowadays, and it's kind of becoming tiring. Now, I am a girl. I should love that. But as a mother of sons, I don't see anything wrong with actually showing boys how to become men in movies. Yet Hollywood seems to insist that boys and men are only periphery characters these days. It drives me nuts, honestly. I mean, why can't we have a little of both? Now, in this movie, Robin, who of course is reminiscent of Robin Hood, who is a man, is played by a girl, but the opposing kid army is led by a guy. So I guess there's your guy. It's annoying how corporate interests are also always shown as completely evil in movies. Now, while many companies are corrupt, especially nowadays, there are so many that do good in the world. So it just seems super cliche to me. Some of the night scenes are visually super dark, so it's hard to see what's going on. Luckily, there aren't that many of them. We're supposed to root for Robin, but she's kind of mean to her friends and is supported by adults in her delusion that she personally owns the property that her kingdom is on. And so you're just like, geez, why would everybody want to follow her? She's kind of mean to everybody and has this arrogant attitude. Well, she falls off that pedestal pretty quick, luckily, and then gets some humility and learns to appreciate her friends. No big spoilers there. Now, if you look closely, you will see some editing errors. And I'm always surprised when I catch them because surely the film has gone through multiple versions of editing. But so, for example, one minute you see Robin's wearing this sweatshirt and it's off of her shoulder. And then the next second, she's completely covered, meaning it's, placed on her shoulders correctly. And I was like, it just sort of takes you out of the movie a little bit. Now, whenever I watch movies, I write down the funny lines and the interesting lines simply so you can get a taste for the quality of the filmmaking as well as the content. And I have all of them written down on my moviereviewmom.com website, but I'll share some of them with you right now. So there's this one moment where Robin meets Gwendolyn Christie's character, who is this kind of wild woman living in the forest. And of course, the kids see her as a witch. And so Robin says, Robin is played by Darcy Ewert. She says, please don't eat me. And then Gwendolyn Christie's character says, eat you? I'm a vegetarian, because she's all, earthy and everything. And then another funny line that Gwendolyn Christie's character says is, honestly, I offer one veggie skewer and suddenly it's a daycare around here. So she's reluctantly helping these kids with a problem that happens. And then there are a couple of really interesting lines that speak to the themes of the movie. The first one is spoken by Jessica Blake, who plays Robin's mother. And she says this line several times in a little bit different way each time. But the message is things can't stay the same forever. And things are happening in her life as well that are changing her comfort zone. Another interesting line that she says is you need to learn that your actions have consequences. I love that as a theme for a children's movie, well, an adult movie for that matter, but especially for kids who in today's society don't think that there are consequences, and there absolutely are. Another interesting line is spoken by Tom Goodman Hill, and he says, you can't just run away when you don't get what you want. You've got to face your problems. And he plays the father. Also, excellent advice. Another piece of really good advice that the mother gives to Robin is life is like a cake. And she says this as they're baking a cake together. You've got to make the best you can with the ingredients you've been given. That is such good advice because we all start born as babies. That means we're the same, and yet we're not. Some of us start with advantages. Some of us start with major disadvantages. Now you can whine and moan and complain and be a victim saying that you didn't have those advantages, but you've got to work with what you were given. And in some regards, they could be advantages depending on what it is. Anyway, so I loved that advice for her as well. And then there's a really powerful line when Darcy is trying to lead her kingdom and she offers the crown to this other kid and his group of friends if they'll help her and her friends to do this thing. I'm being very vague because I'm trying to make this spoiler free, but she says, if we lose the crown, that's temporary. But if we lose the kingdom, that's forever. And I thought, now that is a really good line for a leader of a kingdom, right? Now, eventually, Robin learns some lessons and she states, quote, "You've got to protect the things you care about," end quote. All right. So hopefully that review has been helpful. If it is, give it a thumbs up, subscribe, you know the drill. But before we go, let me give you some recommendations for some other magical fairyland type of movies that I think you might also like if they haven't been on your radar to this point. The first one is called Bridge to Terabithia. Now, some of these movies involve children. Well, they all involve children in fantasy type of scenarios, but making choices and kind of a coming of age type of movie. Another one is The Chronicles of Narnia, where we get real life and then fantasy life and lessons are learned. I love that. And then Matilda the musical, it's so cute. My oldest son has 2 kids and he'll sit there and watch it without the kids even in the room. He thinks it's so fun. And I do too. And again, it blends real world with this fantasy story. So cute. And then the last one is called The Secret Kingdom, which is something that I reviewed last year in 2023. In fact, I think I'll cue that one up so that you can learn a little bit about that one. It's real life kids, and then they are transported to magical places and learn lessons. All right. Hopefully you'll enjoy those. I think that you will. Have a fantastic day. And when you get a minute, run over and visit me on social media. You can find all of my books on Amazon, and I'll catch you in the next one. Bye for now.